The film begins in Afghanistan in the year 2021, where we get to meet an ISIS member named Amir sitting while having a coffee. An informant who is an aged man then approached him before delivering a letter to Amir, which he read quickly. The old man is then paid penny for his effort. Almost immediately, Amir head into a building, which is an old-looking safe house. We discover that this is where he and his men kept hundreds of American soldiers that were captured and held hostage. Once they were out of their cages, they are all taken outside. Amir brought out their team leader, named Jake. He pins her on the ground and told his goons to unchain other American soldiers. As soon as they were done, Amir gave each of the soldiers stones. However, once he was done, Amir gave a public speech to all the ISIS members present that moment. He informed them that the American had arrived to eradicate Islam. So as punishment, they need to show her the fate that awaits those who desecrate the holy name of the Prophet. And immediately, the whole crowd began to stone the female soldier, aiming for her death. Just then, backup arrived above the ground. A chopper with shooting machine guns began to attack them. However, due to the intense shooting, the ISIS troops abandoned Jake and recaptured the rest of her crew members. The American soldiers arrived on ground and retrieved Jake. Some other soldiers engaged the ISIS troops in a crazy gun shootout. Amir noticed that his troops were on the losing side, so he took up his RPG and took down one of the chopper. Immediately, the other helicopter proceeded to leave. Unfortunately, it was already too late as Amir began to execute all the remaining. At the Kwa International Girls High School in Pakistan, we see some young Muslim girls playing basketball. After their fun game time at the courtyard, a group of young girls went to the restroom to discuss about their marriage. All of a sudden, they heard a loud gunshots from outside. Immediately, they went towards the window to confirm the strange noise. Unfortunately for them, their school were under attack by ISIS forces and not the Taliban. As soon as the ISIS troops arrived, they proceeded to capture all the students on site, shooting anyone and anything on their way to interrupt their mission, including those students who wasn't ready to comply. The young students who were still inside the restroom decided to make their way to the top of the roof, while the other girls who ran downstairs were cornered by the ISIS troops. As soon as the girls from earlier got to the roof, one of them looked from above to access the current situation and was shocked by what she had seen, as all the students are being forcefully packed into a van. Once they were done, Amir quickly questioned the female students in the van, asking which one of them is the daughter of Kamila Durrani named Bia Durrani. Bia Durrani mom is the Afghanistan Minister of Education. The students in fear refused to give him an accurate answer. So Amir in return shot one of their teacher, eliminating her. Amir goons began searching all over the school again for them. Meanwhile, the girls on the roof became terrified by this. See the current situation? They all began to run in order to escape, but unfortunately for them, they came across one of the ISIS members, and as he fell down, Bia took up his gun. As he tried attacking her, she shot him, but this only attracts more of the ISIS soldiers toward her direction. Just then Amir arrived at the scene and walked towards her. She quickly tried shooting him, but unluckily, she ran out of bullets. Upon this realization, she ran back to the roof where the rest of her mate were. Amir followed her straight up to the roof where he found her and her mates. Amir, more furious, then decided to throw her mate off from the rooftop. Bia's mother, now in shock, watched the news, and it was there Amir asked for a ransom, which was $10 million each for the captured girls. Amir further stated that Sheikh al-Shamali should be released from imprisonment from the hands of corrupt Taliban government. The students, now in a secluded area, sit miserably at the mercy of their captors, watching them closely. The scene then shifted to Fort Irwin, California, where Jake has been summoned upon to a meeting with her superior officers and the pilot that rescued her earlier and questioned by their superior regarding to the issue that occurred that very day. Jake had issued a complaint about the behavior of the pilot for leaving her soldier behind. Her superior insists that Jake withdraw her complaint. Jake further explained why she wouldn't withdraw. However, for her superior not to ruin his weekend, he adjourned the case till Monday. Afterwards, Jake went into the ring to box in order to unleash her anger and frustration. She is defeated, but she angrily knocked her partner out after he had won the fight. Just then, a man named Travis decided to have a conversation with Jake. Travis informs her that he has something very important to discuss with her, but on the condition that she bathes since she stinks of sweat. Jake then headed to her base to bathe and calm her head. Once she was done, she approached Travis at the cafeteria. He showed her a tab which was simply just about the kidnap of the daughters of notable American ambassadors and foreign ministers. Travis had tried a rescue mission 3 days ago, but was unsuccessful. However, Jake believed this job is simply meant for the CIA and not meant for her special force. So in order to convince her, Travis then proceeded to show her who was behind the abduction, which was Amir, the same man who eliminated her team members few months ago in Afghanistan. Upon hearing this, Jake agreed since she also needed to avenge her falling soldiers. Travis then gave her a new passport for the mission ahead under the new identity, Jessica Rabbit. Much later, Jake arrived at Quetta's airport in Pakistan, where she met her taxi driver. He helped her with her luggages and drove her vehicle in a crazy manner. They got to their destination at the NAB hotel, where she met with Rocky, who is simply one of her new teammates. They are put together for the sole purpose of rescuing the girls from the ISIS troops. They all introduce themselves, and Jake is introduced to medic Dr. Mike, who is also part of the team. It is also revealed that Dr. Mike and one of the girls are in a relationship. Once they were done introducing themselves, Jake asked them for the nearest reachable cafe. She got the information and head straight into the cafe. Once she was in, she contacted her Taliban informant, who at first refuses to speak to Jake. Jake then reminded her of the favor she owes, further insisting that she needs her help. The woman then agreed to help find out where the American girls are held captive. Just as they discuss, Jake got interrupted by another call, which was just Travis. Jake went back to the hotel where she met with Travis. They planned to rescue the girls. As they were discussing, Rocky came in to tell them that Bee's mother is here on short notice. During their conversation, the minister requests that if they can't rescue her daughter, she's willing to pay the ransom of $10 million, but only for her daughter in order to keep her away from the face of shame and our daughter publicly killed. She also told them that she came to ensure they crossed the border safely. Hours later, the entire team started their journey. Jake rode with Malik to get to their destination. A moment later, they arrived at a place known as the Khyber Pass border crossing. As they wait, Jake and Malik then had a discussion regarding their musical taste. Soon, they proceeded to cross the border, but as they did so, one of the soldiers there insisted they turn around and go back. Notwithstanding the explanation, the soldiers began to ransack the van, destroying most of the medical supplies. Just then, Bashir joined the conversation and told them to stop destroying those medical supplies, insisting that the shipment was approved by the highest order. After he met with Travis and Jacob, before he left, he gave them a number to call in case of any emergency. They eventually all crossed the border. Back to Amir, he requested to see one of the captured girls to his office. He informed her saying, up till this moment, they haven't received any response regarding their offer in order to release her and her friends, so he has decided to show good faith. She does not believe him at first since he was responsible for killing her friend. Amir apologizes, saying he knows it was a monstrous act. Amir told her that he'll let her go free, but only on the condition that she delivers a letter for him to the local police station. He stated that he will pick another individual if she eventually refuses to go, but she immediately accepted his offer. Travis and the team soon arrived to a place where they delivered the medical supplies. Now at their hotel, Travis, together with headscarves, Rachel and Teresa, headed to a safe house where the weapon they'll be using for the mission are kept. Jake disguised herself to meet with her Taliban connect she had called earlier. She arrived at the location, and although she was initially welcomed in a horrible way, but she overturned the situation. Jake's plan is to pinpoint the exact location of the girls with the help of her friend, which is in an abandoned tobacco factory. Travis, on the other hand, arrived with the girls at the safe house, but he was disappointed on getting there as the place was completely destroyed. Nearby, Amir goons arrived at the station with the girl from earlier and handed her letter to deliver to the station. Just as she did so, the officer read it, but unfortunately for him, before he could realize what was going on, the vehicle which had brought the young girl exploded, killing her and everyone inside as it was laced with bomb. The team hotel was also nearby. Travis and his crew start acting like a team, after which they began the mission. They soon ambushed the Taliban hideout with the sole purpose of stealing all their weapons. On getting in there, they killed the Taliban soldiers present there, after which they proceeded to gather all the weapons they needed for the mission ahead. More Taliban soldiers arrived at the scene, making a serious gun battle ensues. Once they were done eliminating them, the team proceeded to drive away, but as they were doing so, one of the Taliban soldiers shot Dr. Mike, making him fall from the vehicle. They head back to go get Mike's body, but unfortunately, Travis is also shot, killing him. They eventually escape. They got to a safe location, and it was at this moment they realized Travis had passed away. Jake retrieved the emergency contact Bashir gave him from earlier at the border. Rocky is pissed at Jake for what had just happened, as she assumed her actions was a desperate attempt to make up for her past mistake. Jake informed her she retrieved the body so they won't know who they are. Geek now connected on the line, which was been traced. Minutes later, they figured out Bashir's location. The next day, they all proceed to bury the dead. Later that same day, the entire team arrived at Bashir's house. He wasn't happy with them coming to his house and suggested they go. Bia's mother came to see them and informed them of her plans, which is to pay them off with counterfeit dollars. Bia's mother gave them counterfeit currencies to pay for her daughter's ransom, insisting that's the only solution she could come up with. Meanwhile, Amir, on the other hand, asked for Bia Durrani to be brought to him. He then admired her spirit and resistance. He gave her a proposition, which is that she is very worthy to be his wife. If she marries him, then nobody would have to die, as he makes sure his trustworthy soldiers marries the rest of the students. Bia then spat on his face. A car was approaching the girls, but it was Jake's Taliban connect. She informed the team that they'll be moving the girls, but she doesn't know where. She also told them Taliban thinks ISIS was the one who stole the weapons to attack the prison, so they're also moving the sheik to a more secure location. Afterwards, the team are told to get rid of their ID, and in case any AR are caught, they should admit they're an American soldier, suggesting it won't be pleasant, but they'll eventually be traded. Meanwhile, Sheik was already being transferred to a maximum security prison. The girls positioned themselves in quest to ambush the military vehicle. Just then, one of them ride her bike straight towards the van, but unfortunately, she was seriously injured. The girls then ambushed the military van in order to intercept it. This was a serious chaos as many soldiers were eliminated. As soon as they rescued their target, they began to retrieve as more soldiers began to approach them. However, the lady from earlier is still seriously injured, with her leg now stuck under the military truck. But no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't pull her out, so Rocky convinced them to leave her behind. Just as they did so, one of them was sadly shot at the back, which killed him. They managed to escape. Either ways, they got to Bashir's house, and on the local news they saw how the Taliban soldiers gruesomely killed Rocky. This was really an horrific scene to watch. Jake couldn't bear the pain, so she head out to scream, after which she meet with Chick and attempted killing him. Jake then discovered that her contact is an ISIS informant. On discovering this, she knocked her out. Quickly, the rest of the team out of the location. Amir arrived and met with Jake contact, proving they actually worked together. Jake and her team drove to a secluded spot, using a tracker to navigate their way. Amir and the old man from earlier discuss more while Jake continued to approach them. They later found their way into the underground location and also disguised themselves. Meanwhile, Bia eventually decided to marry Amir, but after the marriage rites were concluded, Amir cut out the sheik head using his sword, and we get to discover that Amir only rescued the sheik because he wanted to be the one to kill him. Jake and our team infiltrated their hideout. Immediately, one of the Amir's soldier rushes to inform him that the money they recovered is fake, and he also found a tracking device in the bag. Immediately, Amir ordered all the women in the building to be gathered together. As they unveiled their faces, one of Jake's team members activated a bomb, finally striking a seriously battle between them. Meanwhile, Jake and Amir began to fight a very serious fight, while the girls are being rescued with a vehicle. Back to Amir and Jake, he continued to beat Jake mercilessly, but fortunately for Jake, she got the upper hand and immediately stabbed Amir through the neck, killing him instantly. They rescued the abducted students and drove them to the rendezvous location where a chopper was already available to move them. Meanwhile, Jake and Malik but listened to one of their favorite music as they both followed the chopper on land. The movie then came to an end. Kindly subscribe if you enjoy movie recap like this. Thanks for watching and goodbye.